attention, please. We will start our program. I want to welcome all of you and thank you for coming to this event. This 2023 Owensboto American Association of University Women celebration of our democracy and the inclusion of equity for women. I want to begin by thanking some groups who were very instrumental in helping us put this together. From the Davis County Courthouse, Joe Paul Beckett and Jerry Ems of the Facilities Management, who helped set up everything here, our microphones, and putting all the physical components in place. Adrian Carrico, who's Administrative Assistant to Mayor Watson. Brooke Hayden, an Administrative Assistant to the County Judge Executive Castle. Also, we want to recognize Jeannie Owen Miller of the Davis County Bar Association for being so instrumental in this event. Let's give them a years ago, August 26, 1920, the right of women as citizens of this democracy to participate in civic governance by voting was acknowledged with the 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. And we do have some copies of that if some of you would like to have one at the end of the program. We are here today to celebrate that important milestone on our democracy's path to a more perfect union. This journey, however, continues. This past month, July 2023, a new joint resolution entitled ERA Now was passed by Congress. The ERA Now affirms the Equal Rights Amendment and directs the Archivist of the United States to certify and publish the Equal Rights Amendment as the 28th Amendment of the United States Constitution. We are now past the point where the ERA has been approved both by the required 2/3 of both houses of Congress and by 3/4 of the states. After 235 years as a nation, we celebrate our freedoms and, as women and men of goodwill, continue to work toward fairness and equity for all our citizens. We will now have the presentation of the colors. Will be read at a meeting of the county court board. So, and Judy went up to get it. She'll be here soon. But then next we'll have readers. Oh, Judy. Fresh off. They're fresh off the press. Whereas Whereas women's suffrage in America was rooted in the meeting of a group of trailblazers in 1848 in Seneca Falls, New York, and while that meeting sparked a movement, suffragists fought for 72 long years thereafter to secure the vote for women nationwide. And whereas on January 16, 1895, a group of 10 Owensboro women formed the Political Equality Club of Owensboro to secure for women the unrestricted exercise of all rights of citizenship and equal constitutional rights for men and equal protection of the law. Whereas women play a critical role in families, the workplace, and in society as a whole, contributing to our economy and advancing our nation, and through the efforts of many equal rights advocates and champions, we get to today celebrate locally and nationally Women's Equality Day and pay tribute to all women who have and continue to strive for equality. Whereas women have always been instrumental to America's greatness, but with greater access to governing institutions through national suffrage, generations of women have been able to use the power of the ballot to shape their communities and keep America a beacon of freedom and opportunity for the world. And whereas 103 years after the 19th Amendment and 100 years after the introduction of the Equal Rights Amendment, women are still striving to be written into the Constitution as a passage of the Equal Rights Amendment, which would guarantee recognition of equality for all women, and we believe the time is now. And therefore, I, Charlie Castle, Davis County Judge Executive, do hereby proclaim August 26, 2023 as Women's Suffrage Day. And now we have greetings from the city of Owensboro.
Is the mayor here?
Mayor Watson is not here, and he does send a representative.
Bob Lynn.
Bob Lynn?
I can say, I don't have a proclamation, but say how we
It
work.
says greetings. Greetings.
I'm the friendliest person you'll see here from the city today. First off, I've attended this event for many years. It's a wonderful event. I thank the AAUW and all the organizations and individuals who are instrumental in having this. And also, they always say women are smarter than men. Proof of that is we're doing this indoors instead of being outside in 104 people. So we all know you're a lot smarter than we are. Women have fought hard and are still fighting today very, very loudly and justifiably for their rights on a host of platforms. It is absolutely critical that you never give up the fight. My mother was a single parent, and I will tell you briefly what happened to her. She wanted to buy a house, and she went to a bank. This is in 1971 in the state of Nevada, the comparatively light state of Nevada. And she was told, sure, you can buy a house, sure, you can buy a condo, you just need a signature of a man to do it. So she wanted to go into a substandard mortgage company and get a mobile home. That's the best she could do, and still needed because signature of a man. It is absolutely critical. When I campaign, I still have women who will tell me when I'm knocking on the door, I don't vote, that's my husband's job. Folks, we've got a lot of work to do. It's everybody's job to participate in democracy. It's everybody's job to participate in promoting equal rights. And the work that you have all done in the past, today, and in the future must go on. But let's celebrate the victory that we have, and that is that women are leaders at every level. I'm so proud of Sharon D. Smith, our colleague, and Pam Smith-Wright. Absolutely thrilled to have these women on the commission. I look forward to the day when we have 4 women on the commission and a female mayor. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So thank you. Take care. That's the best I can do.
Recognize those members from our community who've given their intelligence, their energy, and their time to run for office and represent us and keep Owensboro and Davis County the great place it's always been. You please rise so we can recognize you all.
I'm sorry that the mayor did not make it, but one of the things that I was going to remind Mary to say, and I want to say, is that we wanted particularly to thank the women who wrote the proclamations. Every year, the mayor and the judge give one, but I know that it's actually the women who work with them who write them. And I think it's important. This is another case of women not always getting credit, so I just wanted to bring that to you. We have a wonderful speaker today. I've known her for a long time, longer than probably either one of us want to admit. And Virginia Woodward is from Louisville. Most of you have heard of her. I've known her ever since she asked me to be chair of the Kentucky Commission on Women, and that was some years ago. Virginia is a woman of great talent and activism, and her work covers so many women's issues. She's a political consultant, a lecturer at the University of Louisville for one place. She's former executive director of the Crime Victims Compensation Board and the Board of Claims, to which she was appointed in 2009. And then in 2010, she became the first Kentuckian to be appointed and then elected to the National Crime Victims Compensation Board. Virginia served on the steering committee, which established the first Kentucky Victim Assistance Academy, training its first graduates in 2013. She served as a member of the Governor's Task Force on Domestic Violence, a Washington, D.C. based Center for Policy Alternatives Advisory Committee, and she's the convener, or has been the convener, for the editorial board of the Commonwealth Policy Institute. She's also served as executive director of the Governor's Office of Boards and Commissions. And to me, most importantly, she was a former executive director of the Kentucky Commission on Women. She served in different capacities for the Political Women's Council, past president of the Kentucky Women's Political Caucus, past president of the Louisville Metro Women's Network. The list goes on and on. I'm taking up her time, so I'm going to stop there. But she is also a wife and a mother and a grandmother, and her career was as a dental hygienist before she became so involved in women's advocacy. The next time that any of you say, oh, I'm too busy, or I can't make a difference, so there's no point in trying, I want you to think of Virginia Woodward. She is strong and bold and fearless. She's a woman of our times, and she's going to speak about the 100th anniversary of the Equal Rights Amendment and all kinds of good things. And we want to finally see that as a part of the Constitution. It's been a long way. You are in for a treat. Virginia Woodward, please.
Thank you so much for those kind words. What a great group today. I'm so honored to be here. When Loma contacted me and asked me to come up for this celebration, I thought, wow, this is great. This is great. Because 1920 was a long time ago. And we're still fighting, aren't we? We are still fighting. But the amendment, the 19th Amendment, states the federal government and none of the states can deny the right to vote to citizens of the United States on the basis of sex. That's us, right? So it took them a long time to get there. The first women's rights convention was in 1848. Do the math, 1848 to 1920. These are some of our great-great-grandmothers, great-great-aunts that were involved in this whole situation, working towards being equal in the face of the law. Before that happened, women were treated as charter. They could not keep their children if they were divorced. They did not get financial support. They could not own land. When education was out, you were a second-class citizen until you had the right to vote. And we have so much more yet to go. It only took them 51 years after we got the right to vote, and there were 2 women's strikes to push it along. So in 1970, women gathered in Washington, D.C. and had a big march. They had to do it again in 1973, and finally, the Congress designated in 1973 through the work of Congresswoman Bella Abzug. And if you haven't read about her, she is someone to read about. She passed a resolution designating August 26th as Women's Equality Day. It only took 51 years this time. Women fought hard, and they were force-fed, if you can imagine. They were beaten. They were ridiculed. They were imprisoned. All of this to dissuade them from asking for the right to vote. That seems pretty simple to me. Doesn't it, girls? Pretty simple. I mean, pretty simple. If you're going to be equal, you're going to be equal. So after Seneca Falls, that was just the beginning of the long road. So you're thinking about in the 70s and 73. Also in 73, Roe v. Wade, a landmark decision by the U.S. Supreme Court, which ruled that women, their rights were protected for an abortion through privacy. Some of you may have read in your books about Norma McCorvey. She was called Jane Doe. She had had 3 children by the time she was 21 and couldn't take on another child. And in 1969, she became pregnant again. And in Texas, she didn't have any recourse. There was no place to go. So she hired attorneys, Weddington and Coffey. Sarah Weddington is the person you will read most about. And they filed a lawsuit on her behalf in the U.S. federal court, alleging that Texas abortion laws were unconstitutional. Oh, does anybody hear the echo? We're right back with it, aren't we? A special 3-judge panel upheld that, and it went on to the Supreme Court. And in January of 1973, Roe v. Wade, 7-2 decision, remember the 7-2, held it up, that due process clause in the 14th Amendment. Girls, don't forget the 14th Amendment, because things are going to happen with the 14th Amendment. You need to pull it out and read it. It's provided for the right of privacy, which protects a pregnant woman's right to an abortion. Now, I personally would never have an abortion, but where it gets down to is I don't want anybody to tell me what I should do, or tell my granddaughter what she should do, or judge anybody else. That's a right, a personal right that a woman and her family and her physician have. And I feel really strongly in that right. Most of the country feels the same way that I do. The court classified the right to abortion as fundamental and required that the courts evaluate and challenge abortion laws under strict scrutiny. Well, that brings us to June 2022, excuse me. And this Supreme Court overruled Roe with Dobbs versus Jackson. Most people are going to talk to you about it and they're just going to call it Dobbs. It was a tough day because it's like rolling back 50 years of progress. 50 years where women had that right of privacy to make those decisions for themselves. Now, they said it wasn't deeply rooted in the nation's history or tradition. I don't know how long. 50 years seems pretty rooted to me. A tree gets pretty big in 50 years. And they went back to some unknown thing in 1868 to draw upon it. Well, the world has changed since 1868. Women continue today, even though we have the right to vote, to see the erosion of our rights, our health care rights by government, and women are being pushed into seeking very dangerous situations for solutions. Luckily, science has aided women in making personal private decisions through access to medications, and that is a good thing. That is a good thing. So today, we think about all the years it took us to get the right to vote. We need to get that Equal Rights Amendment in the Constitution, so when it's printed, it's in the Constitution. We're not fully equal until that happens. And when somebody who isn't a woman says, well, you got all the, no, it was the story about the loan for her mother. In 1983, I went to buy a car, and the man told me I need to bring my dad back to sign the paperwork. 1983, that hadn't been that long ago. We are not equal yet, and we need to be in the Constitution. Because when men are equal, women should be equal, and it needs to say that directly. So today, we celebrate the day. It is a day of remembrance, and it should be a great day in our history books. We think back on those women who were jailed, who were force-fed, they were beaten, all trying to get them to not be a part of the movement to give women the right to vote. They are the shoulders that we stand on as we move forward today. Moving that Equal Rights Amendment, that's something everybody here can do. And you can write to your legislators, your congressperson in Washington, and tell them it needs to be a part of the Constitution. Because those of us who work, and all of you are going to be working someday, we pay our taxes just like everybody else, don't we? And we vote just like everybody else, and therefore we should be in the Constitution. Salaries for women still lag behind. We're about at 78 cents for every white male's dollar. I still can't understand that because equal work should be equal pay, right? And it's not yet. So we have to continue this battle, continue to move it along. And every time we look at this day, we remember the women who started this, who started us in the road of freedom and complete liberty and the pursuit of our happiness. And we need to thank them and then remember how much more we have to go through in order for all of us to be equal and free under our Constitution. And finally, women should be able to make decisions about our own health care. Not somebody else, not me, not anybody but yourself. That's part of living in a free and liberty-feeling country, that we are all equal and able to make those decisions. Thank you all so much for having me. Let's start today, and I challenge our young women to be involved and be the next generation who is going to hound them until they put that in the Constitution. And I'll be right there. I may be in a wheelchair by then, but I'll be right there carrying the banner. And anything else that women feel they deserve and need, we need to fight for that and stand together. We are 53% of the population. If women registered and voted like that, there's not an issue, a candidate, or anything else that we couldn't achieve. And that's all of us together. So that's my challenge to you, is to be a part of that 53%. Vote, vote, vote. First thing you need to do when you turn 18, and make a difference in your community by being a loud voice on our environment, on healthcare, on economic development, and all the issues we care about. And remember our great-great-grandmothers, because today we stand on their shoulders. Thank you.
We want to thank you so much for those inspiring words, and you gave We've got to renew our energy. We've got to be optimistic and work towards more things in the future, and having the equal rights of women in the Constitution, and make sure that we are treated equally, not better, but equal. We will now have, you have some books? We are going to have a sing-along, and it's going to be led by Arnie Weiner and Ray Coe.
Hi. These songs are to the tune of songs that we all know since the 1800s, when Johnny was marching home, Battle Hymn of the Republic, Yankee Doodle. But in 1912 and 1918, they made up new words that are appropriate for what we're celebrating right now. So if you care to, you can join along. I'm having a hard time not going to the original words. So forgive me if I do accidentally.
You can help her out. Which means you have to participate.
Okay, the first one is called When a Woman Comes to Her Own, which is to the tune of When Johnny Comes Marching Home. When a woman comes marching to her own, hurrah, hurrah, a royal welcome she'll be shown, hurrah, hurrah, the bells will ring, the band will play, they'll give her Godspeed on her way. Oh, bless the day when woman comes to her own. The very streets will smile and shout, hurrah, hurrah, for cleanliness to reign throughout, hurrah, hurrah. The winds will set, the air was free, the birds will join and sing for glee. Oh, bless the day when woman comes to her own. With no one's heard to step, she comes, hurrah, hurrah. She'll sweep the city of its slums, hurrah, hurrah. She'll show us how to legislate, to save and to build the states. Oh, bless the day when woman comes to her own.
That took 8 language. So we gotta get to the whole thing.
Of course, when we were practicing this, I said, I noticed they're still talking about us sweeping. Okay, the second one is to the tune of Yankee Doodle, and apparently it was written in 1912. It's called Votes for Women, Sure to Win. It happened once in England, that women was started. Suffrage rights were shared, murderlessly parted. Votes for women, keep it up, never mind what party. Votes for women, sure
They're the ones that we really owe